years. I love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000
It gives me a pleasure to pronounce you husband and wife.
Drinking in the morning sun, blinking in the morning sun, shaking off the heavy one, yeah, heavy like a loaded gun. What made me behave that way? Using words I never say. I can only think it must be love. Oh, anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day. Someone tell me how I feel. It's silly wrong but vivid right. Oh, kiss me like a final meal. Yeah, kiss me like we died tonight. 'Cause holy cow, I love you right. And only now I see the light. Yeah, lying with you half away. Oh, anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day. When my face is chamois creased, if you think I wink, I did. Laugh politely at repeats. Yeah, kiss me when my lips are thin. 'Cause holy cow, I love you right. And only now I see the light. Yeah, lying with you half away, stumbling over what to say. Well, anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day.
everything's alright when you're with me. And you're my favorite thing. Oh, the love that you bring. Well, it feels like I've opened my eyes again, and the colors are golden and bright again. There's a song in my heart, I feel like I belong. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along. I see the whole world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding to greet your bride and your bridegroom for the first time. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bryan!
And the wind sings her song. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along. Now I'm alright. Now I'm alright. Everything's alright. 'Cause it feels like I've opened my eyes again, and the colors are golden and bright again. There's a song in my heart, I feel like I belong. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along.
How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you. Longer if I can. How long will I need you? As long as the seasons meet to follow their plan. How long will I be with you? As long as the sea is bound to wash upon the sand. How long will I want you? As long as you want me to. And longer by far. How long will I hold you? As long as your father told you. As long as you are. How long will I give to you? As long as I live to you. However long you say. How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you. Longer if I may. I gotta say, you really got away. You got away, it seems. You gave me faith to find my dreams. You'll never know just what that means. Can't you see? You got away with me. It's in the way you want me. It's in the way you hold me. The way you show me just what love made of. It's in the way we make love. You got away with words. You get me smiling even when it hurts. There's no way to measure what your love is worth. I can't believe the way you get through to me. It's in the way you want me. It's in the way you hold me. The way you show me just what love made of. It's in the way we make love. Oh, how I adore you, like no one before you. I love you just the way you are. It's in the way you want me. Oh, it's in the way you hold me. The way you show me just what love made of. It's in the way we make love. It's just the way you are.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and dance with me. We were victims of the night, the chemical, physical, kryptonite. Help us to the base and the fading light. Oh, we were bound to get together, bound to get together. She took my arm, I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and dance with me. my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say.
We've come so far, and we've reached so high, and we've looked each day and night in the eye, and we're still so young, and we hope for more.
We've come a long way, but we're not too sure where we've been. We've had success, we've had good times, but remember this. Being on this path of life for so long, we'll have walked 1,000 miles. Sometimes stroll hand in hand with love. Everybody's been there. With danger on my mind, I would stand on the wasn't easy, but still, there's a road going down the other side of this field. Never forget where you're coming from. Never pretend that it's all real. Someday, soon this will all be someone else's dream. This will be someone else's dream. Safe from the arms of disappointment for so long. Feel each day we've come too far. Yet each day seems to make much more. Sure it's good to be here. I understand the meaning of it, can't explain this feeling now. And it feels so unreal. I see the hand that reminds me of the stand that I made. The fact of reality. Never forget where you're coming from. Never pretend that it's all real. Someday, soon this will all be someone else's dream. This will be someone else's dream. We've come so far, and we've reached so high, and we look each day and night in the eye, and we're still so young, and we hope for more. But remember this, we're not invincible. We're not invincible. No. We're only people. We're only people. Hey, we're not invincible. We're not invincible. So again, I'll tell you, never forget where you're coming from. Never pretend that it's all real. Someday, soon this will all be someone else's dream. This will be someone else's dream. Everybody sing, oh baby. No, never, never forget, oh no. La 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 la. Oh, everybody sing that song. Yeah, la 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 la. Someday, soon this will all be someone else's dream. This will be someone else's dream.
We've reached so high, and we've looked each day and night in the eye, and we're still so young, and we hope for more.
Say a few words. Thank you very much indeed. It's better you clap now because you certainly won't be afterwards. It's my great privilege to be the father of this beautiful young lady. I think everyone knows it's been a terrific day so far, blessed even with the weather. You know, somebody once said to me, your life will be like the weather you have on your wedding day. Although having just spoken to John, I'm not sure I should be repeating that. Ros and I, when we got married, it was some sunshine and a lot of stormy showers. But today's been sunshine all the way, so I think that augurs extremely well. Now, this is one of two weddings of the year for us, or two weddings of the year. First this one, and we've got another one at the end of June. Some of you will know about that. That's Jonathan, and I can't believe we'll get rid of both of them in 1 year. Fantastic. There is another wedding taking place that someone told me about in May. Oh, that's at Windsor Castle, that's right, but that really doesn't count. So, Mo and John and Ros and I like to thank you very much all for coming and being part of this day with us, this wonderful occasion for Cathy and Dave. Before I go any further, I'd just like to say, on behalf of Cathy's grandparents, that's Ros's parents, Ros's dad, Peter, is still alive. He's living in the New Forest, and he felt the journey was just too much for him to make, but he called yesterday and he sent his love, and looking forward to seeing you both when you come down next. Jean sadly died 3.5 years ago of lung cancer, and I'm sure she would love to have been here today, but she'll be with us in spirit. Yeah. So Cathy, the lady of the moment, born in the United States, I'm sure you all knew that anyway, has lived in some fairly exotic places around the world, Falkland Islands, Brazil, Southampton. And for Ros and I, she's the apple of our eye, we have to say. Don't always be fooled, though, by the cherubic looks, because she has got a streak of stubbornness. And she is very courageous at times. I've got to talk a little bit about Cathy's athletic prowess. Is there some surprise around the room? A few birthdays ago, I did what you sometimes do, say, what would you like for your birthday then, Kath? She said, I'd like some running shoes. What? I'm going to run the London Marathon. I said, what? Gosh, so really? Okay, well, we'll go and find a running shoe shop, which we did near Southampton. Specialist running shoe shops. It's one of these places which has a treadmill. So a very nice guy there got Cathy, put her on the treadmill. She went along. Yes, you need this sort of shoe and that sort of shoe, and yes, that heel's doing that and this and that. Okay, this pair of shoes that you want is going to be 180 quid. Oh, okay, so shoes. I don't know what actually happened to the marathon. Perhaps she didn't get her entry after all. And she was a footballer. She was in the school football team in Brazil. Libby met her in Sydney, Australia, and managed to persuade her to get onto a bike and go riding, which is quite an unusual thing. And then there was a little incident in the Falkland Islands a couple of years ago when we lived there. There's a place called Kidney Island, which is a very lovely island just off the coast of the main island. And we went out there in a boat with a friend of ours who'd taken us there specifically because it's a good place to see wildlife in general, particularly sea lions on this particular island. So chug, 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 onto the boat we got off, and the sea lions were on the other side of the island from where the landing place was. So we are going a little single file up through a thing called tussock grass, which is familiar in the Falklands, very high, 9 or 10 feet high. So it's a bit like walking through a forest. And we're going on this little path, and all of a sudden, from somewhere on our right, and it was, my God, there's a sea lion in the tussock, which wasn't the plan at all. And at that moment, I felt Cathy land on top of my shoulder. From a standing jump. Quite incredible. And then she was there for the rest of the day. We quickly went on across the island, we saw the sea lions, took our photographs, came back very gently, not wanting to disturb the sea lion in case he was really still there. So, that was good. And actually, Cathy, I was down in the Falklands recently, as you know, and that's been sent by them. That's a leaflet about Kidney Island. They're looking forward to seeing you back. She's also a very courageous young lady, not just for marrying Dave, but sorry. We went on a school trip in Brazil, and there were some huge, huge trees, and I was picking up the kids every now and again, and suddenly I couldn't see Cathy anywhere, and I looked up, and there she is, halfway up a tree, which must have been 150 feet high. And she's not climbing the actual trunk of the tree, but she's on one of these rope arrangements, which you do steps and steps, and she's halfway up this wretched tree, and I thought, my God, what do I say? I can't shout at her, she might fall off. And up she went. She got back eventually, about half an hour later, and I said, what came into you? She said, I'm not quite sure, I didn't want to do it, but I just ended up doing it. And then only one more story about Brazil, but you do, there's a family thing in our family about spiders. The girls don't all like spiders. Roz is one, Cathy's another, Katie's another one. Spiders have a bit of a thing. So we're going on a little jungle walk in Brazil. First few days when we've been out there, and we came upon a spider, a great big tarantula thing. I mean, it's about that big. And he was lying asleep, and Cathy actually saw him first. And we took a photograph and we crept silently past like this, so all was well. A couple of years later, we were on a boat trip in the Amazon, and we went for a real jungle walk with a guide. And everything was going well. This chap called Conrad, who was the guide, saw a tree across the path, and so he signalled to us to stop. There's just the family with us. And he went and looked over, and he looked back at us with a sort of smirk on his face. Then he took his stick and he whacked something over the tree. Well, I can tell you, Roz and Cathy would have rivaled Linford Christie on that particular occasion, because it was a tarantula. Conrad had woken it up and it came shooting up over the tree. Thank goodness it ran up his trouser leg and onto his back. But Cathy and Roz were by this time at 100 yards back down the trail. But there we are. So nothing worse. He survived, which was lucky because we didn't know the way back to the boat. Cathy, we're extremely proud of all that you've achieved and of finding Dave and a lovely family in Liverpool that you have. Most recently, perhaps we're so pleased and proud of you for, whilst working full-time, achieving your master's degree, which I think is a terrific thing. Very impressed, especially as Roz and I do. Roz and I don't have a bachelor to our name between us, so there we go. I've got to find if I've got onto the wrong page now. It's your turn. We're delighted to have you as our new son-in-law. We really are, very chuffed. And you've got a nice couple of parents as well, even though they don't support the right football team. We really do.
You're 1-0 down, by the way.
That's not the teams. All I would say to you, Dave, a bit of advice. Just remember, there's only one person in charge of your household, and it's not you. Behind, Roz sent me a Valentine's card this year and had a message on it. Behind every good woman stands a man wondering what he said wrong. So, if you remember that, you won't go too far. You probably know already. Seriously, we're just delighted to welcome you as our son-in-law. It's a shame about your football team, but there we go. Roz has got someone to talk to about horse racing, which is terrific, and she loves that. And I've got someone to talk to about football. I do remind you, of course, that Bournemouth did beat Everton this year. Sorry, Mo, because Mo is an Everton supporter as well, I know. We won't go into our respective teams right now. Okay. And have you got the result of the 4:15 at Haydock, right? I'm surprised you're still here, actually. Okay, there is a little local derby, as Ben pointed out earlier on, going on down the south coast. It doesn't quite rival Liverpool, Everton, but yeah, I mean, I'm quite confident.
You won
Very sad. It's fine, we always leave it till the last minute. And I know there are a few Southampton supporters in here, Jonathan not the least, and I feel sorry for you guys in the championship next year. Somebody has to do it. Dave, I know I don't need to ask you this, but we would ask you to take very good care of our very special girl, even if she is an Arsenal supporter. She's a very special person to us, and we think that you two are very special together. Okay. It's almost time for me to sit down. Yeah. Thoughts to leave you with, I just had a couple. And actually, after that lovely poem, the two lovely poems read in the thing, after in the service, I'm going to say the thing. After the AA Mill one, I think really, what else could be said? I thought that was quite lovely. But all I said, love and respect each other, as I know you do, and will continue to do. And I think life is a rocky road, but together you're stronger and able to cope with all the ups and downs. And then my final thought to leave with you, be very wary of giving the other guy a surprise. Everyone will not necessarily know, but there is a person in this room who said if ever his wife brings a dog home, he knows that's his signal to leave. And that sort of rang at the hollow note with me recently. Because Roz brought a dog home. Anyway, the good news it was for me, but the good news is that Roz's dog is fit and well. Time for me to sit down with three best men to go. Yes, thank you, Libby. Good time. Could I ask everyone, please, to raise a glass to the happy people, Cathy and Dave. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please praise silence for your groom, Dave, who'd like to say a few words.
First of all, thank you, Mike. Lovely words. It means a lot to us both. Most of you will know I'm not a very confident public speaker, so I've done a little bit of homework before today, and the most common piece of advice was to make sure it's got a good beginning, a good end, and make sure the two are really close together. I think it's really important I do try and enjoy the next few minutes, because now that I'm a married man, it's probably the last chance I get to speak for myself. We do have you all enjoying the day so far, and it's absolutely fantastic to have you all here to celebrate with us. And thank you all for the effort you've gone to be here. It means a lot to us. It just wouldn't be the same without you, although it would probably be a little bit less stressful with rooms everywhere else. Unfortunately, it's not possible for everyone that we love to be with us today. We know they're all here with us in spirit, and they're very much in our thoughts. The pins on all of your tables represent two very important charities that we're supporting in memory of people that are very, very special to the both of us. So, if you could raise your glasses, please, to toast to absent loved ones. So I'd like to thank Mike and Roz. It doesn't really feel like I'm thanking you for welcoming me to the family today. You did that many years ago, and I really am grateful for everything you do for me. Must admit, I was originally a bit nervous about meeting Mike. Retired girl, and I've heard rumours of strict breakfast deadlines. I am partial to the odd lie-in. Hopefully, Mike, you've gone easy on me, and the pots and pans have stayed in the cupboard. And also, probably most importantly, to thank you for raising such a beautiful, kind and caring daughter. It really is easy to see that all of Cathy's best qualities come from the both of you. On the subject of great parents, I would like to thank my mum and dad for everything you've done for me. I know I've caused you plenty of stress over the years. You've always been there through thick and thin, and I really don't know where I'd be without your love and support, so thank you. And Cathy and I are grateful as well for all of your ongoing help and support you give to us. I'd say a massive thank you to the four of you for making today happen. It wouldn't have happened without your support. So if you could all please raise your glasses again, we'll toast our parents. My wife and I are both also very lucky to have two fantastic families, and we're grateful for all that you do for us, and for all the effort you've gone to behind the scenes for today. You've all been a great help, so thank you. Well done, and a big thank you to John and Ed today. You did a fantastic job with the readings, even though we sold John down the river. Gave him a reading to rehearse, so he gave him a completely different. Massive well done as well to Joe and Jake, who did a great job. They looked after our rings for us all day today. They did a fantastic job. So well done, boys. You both look incredibly smart as well, by the way. I'm sure everyone would agree that the bridesmaids, Boo and Fief, look absolutely stunning today. feels very lucky to have two such thoughtful and supportive friends. I'm sure your friendships will continue to grow over the coming years and decades. Thank you as well for keeping Cathy calm this morning and making sure she didn't do a run. Big thanks to Tim and Gemma for kindly offering to film today for us. Very kind of you, Tim. A bit hard at work there now. He did ask me to let you all know that if you wake up tomorrow particularly concerned about your behaviour, a nice bottle of whiskey will buy you some I'll be handing over shortly to my best men, who I'd firstly like to congratulate on organising an excellent stag do. Well done, chaps. I'm sure nobody wants to blow by blow of plenty of beer was drunk and a good time had by all. I know it's unusual to have three best men, a little unconventional. I just think it shows how lucky I am to have three such top class mates. So cheers, boys. We initially bonded over cheap booze and ludicrous sporting arguments, but I think our friendships have flourished as we've matured a little bit, and I hope we do continue to do so. I know you perhaps started to wonder if I was ever going to pop the question. For me, it was always a when, not if. And after speaking to my dad and Uncle Finn, I knew that it was really important that perfected the art, doing exactly what I was told before I committed to marriage. Cathy and I first met just over 10 years ago on a night out. And when I first saw her, I thought of two things. Number one, she's absolutely stunning. Number two, she's probably drunk enough that I might just have a chat. We came very close over the next couple of years before I went away to Australia for a year. Cathy came to visit me in Adelaide for a couple of weeks. And it was obviously very clear that we had a special bond because when she left after those 2 weeks, my housemate said, "You'll marry that girl one day." Thankfully he was right, and he's since reminded me as much with smugness that only an Aussie is capable. When I got back from Australia, I did initially have plans to go back and try and settle there, but I very quickly realised there was no point living anywhere. There was no point living anywhere without my best friend and the love of my life. Since we've lived together. Since we've lived together, it taught me a lot about compassion, positivity and patience. It would be really difficult for me to stand here and argue that those qualities have rubbed off on me, but I do understand them a little bit better. Cathy's also been always very tolerant of the fact that my first love is still a huge part of our lives. She even allows me to sob gently on her shoulder every Saturday afternoon. So, along with all the other promises I've made today, I promise, as you say most weekends, to try not to let Everton ruin every week. Cathy, you're the kindest, most thoughtful person I've ever met, and every day you make me happier than I could ever have imagined. I'm so excited that I get to spend the rest of my life with you. So, if you could all please be upstanding and raise the glass.
Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, because I've seen the size of this speech, we could all be here for some time. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for your best men, Andrew, Jackson and Gas.
Thanks, Dave. Lovely words. So, for anyone that has spent any amount of time with Dave, it should come as no surprise to you whatsoever that there are three of us stood up here today. David Bryant is not a man for rushing into a quick decision. If he's going out for a meal, he'll start studying the menu a week beforehand. If he's betting on a horse, he'll track its form 6 months before the race. And if he's proposing, he'll give himself about a decade or so. Inevitably, though, he will come to the correct decision, which is why he's got an amazing wife in Cathy and 3 wise men by his side. On behalf of all 3 of us, I must say it's a huge honour, and thank you, Dave and Cathy, for asking us to be part of your special day. Despite the tough brief of having to write one speech between the 3 of us, it's been great to look back and reminisce on some of the memories that we've shared with someone who is undoubtedly one of the biggest wallies. We've had some great times with Dave as well.
Not all of you will know us, so we thought we'd start by introducing ourselves. That's gone down well already. I'm Jono, and I'm the best man. Because I've travelled the furthest with David, taking not 1 but 2 Australia trips with him. I wandered around a casino in Melbourne with him while he was told by not 1, not 2, but 3 members of staff that he needed to leave the establishment. When I later spoke to him the day after and asked what had happened, he explained to me he was a bit out of it due to some heavy-duty painkillers he was on, or due to issues with his knee. You'll never guess who prescribed said painkillers. One Nurse Bowles, of course. I've even been through some difficult times on the road with David too, such as our last night in Australia together, or so I thought. We went out together, we had a few drinks and a good time, and I woke up the next day feeling rather rough and stumbled to work. On my way home, I walked past our local Irish bar, O'Malley's. I looked inside, this was about 4 o'clock, and saw Dave sitting at the bar. This was a surprise to me, as on 12:30 that day, David was due on a flight to New Zealand. I wandered in and asked Dave what had happened, and he told me that he managed to sleep through his flight. He looked a bit sleepish as he told me that he had to go out and ring his family in New Zealand, who he hadn't seen for many years, and tell them that he wouldn't be coming. But don't worry, Dave, New Zealand's not too far from Liverpool. I'm sure they'll be around for a cup of tea soon.
Johnson, this is John O. Johnson. He can't claim to be the best man because, or the bestest best man, because during the stag do, the weekend that we had organised away, only 1 person forgot the race tickets for the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and only 1 person slept through most of the bars in Birmingham. John O. Johnson. So I'm Gaz. I'm the bestest best man here today. I'd argue I met Dave before these 2 clowns. I think I met Dave on a celebratory night out for A-level results night. Turns out we both went to Rosie's in Chester, and I'm knowing what I know about Dave now, I'm pretty sure he's the man who was arguing with the bouncer on the way in, asking him to kindly take off his hands off his £120 Ralph Lauren shirt. He was definitely the man who I saw arguing with the barmaid about the pricing strategy of a WKD Blues. And he was almost certainly the man I saw at the end of the night singing away to Boys to Men. Page 2. Anyway, in addition, I should get some credit for being the bestest best man, because I was the one who had to clear out Dave's room once when his family were coming round. Dave's mum and dad had come round to take him out for a meal, and Dave texted me, must have been on their way back, saying, "Can you quickly just clean out my room, because I think mum and dad want to come and see my room." So needless to say, there's a lot of stuff that went in Dave's closet that day, some of which may come out in the rest of the speech.
So I'm Jackson. Actually, I'm the best man because I've known Dave the longest by about 10 days or so. Me and Dave lived together for 4 years throughout university, and we survived the great winter of 2008 together when we didn't have enough money to be able to top up the gas and electricity meters. It got so cold that year that one of our housemates' campers actually moved to Australia. But we stay strong and we create the type of unbreakable bond that usually only thrives in third world countries like Wales. Shout out to Harris as well, who was the other surviving member of the glorious Camelot Road. So as you'll have gathered, the three of us didn't meet Dave until he was 18, by which point he was well on his way to maturing into the great man that you see before you now. Fortunately though, we've recruited some help from his old pals. Any preference over which ones? Daniel Slater and Jack Shepherd, who filled the void of those troubled teenage years for us. And count yourself lucky they replied, otherwise it would have been the secret diaries of Mike and Evo. We've picked a couple of our favourite stories from these two fine young men, and we'll let you all judge for yourselves what the common theme is that runs throughout the chronicles of Dave Bray.
From an early age, Dave was a talented sportsman, and whatever sport he played with passion. To his teammates, he was loyal and committed. Great qualities that I think we can all recognise in him today. His opponents, however, might tell a different story. As a teenager, Dave played for Davenham Dynamos. By all accounts, a pretty good team. In their local derby, keen to put one over their bitter rivals, Dave's passion got the better of him. And to cut a long story short, he misjudged a tackle, which resulted in his studs becoming firmly lodged in someone's thigh. The injured opponent surprisingly offered Dave a handshake, but Dave stood by his actions, insisting it was a fair challenge, and refused. To put this event into context, Father John, his dad, not the local priest, was the manager at the time, and despite it being Dave's birthday, John was so horrified by what he'd seen, he couldn't bring himself to speak to Dave for the rest of the day.
Like John, I've had the pleasure, discomfort of managing Dave on the football field. And I've had some uncomfortable moments, and I can confirm that old habits die hard. I've seen Dave launch into tackles from great height, what's often known as his cruise missile tackle. And much like his namesake, I can confirm that it destroys all in front of it. He can make the occasional head-scratching decision too, like the time when I threw him on at the end in defence with the instructions just to shore things up at the back, tight and tense 0-0 game. The opposition got a corner, and Dave, rather than heading it away, decided to lead with his arm, which resulted in him punching the ball away, the referee giving a penalty, they scored it, and we lost 1-0. I can't say it's all bad though, managing Dave. One of his teammates once said he's probably our best player in every position, but unfortunately I didn't know that when I first met him. He was coming back from an injury, so I saw my chance to try and take a bit of beer off him, and playing up front I thought I'd bet him that he wouldn't score. Dave raised me and said that I'll score 2 pints per goal, and I went for it. Dave promptly scored a hat-trick, took a lot of beer off me and made me feel like an idiot. We're proud to say that today there's been a successful transfer. Dave is now under new management.
Dave wasn't just a sportsman, he was also focused on his career from an early age. And made a name for himself as one of Weathersfield Window's finest salesmen. As the story goes, Dave had a shift the morning after a big party at Jack's house. He woke up with a bit of a fuzzy head, again. He was running late, again. And he was covered in red wine this time. But being the hard-working, conscientious young man that he was, he insisted he was going to make it into the office. And when he arrived, office manager Evo, was here somewhere? Deemed him unfit for duty and sent him home. Not to be deterred though, Dave insisted he was fine, and he started to read the sales script just to prove it. Only he got the giggles every time he read out Evo's real name, Chris Evans. After several failed attempts, he reluctantly left to the whole of the office, to the amusement of the whole office. As he jumped in his car, his colleagues had a sudden thought. If he wasn't fit to work, he probably wasn't fit to drive home either. And as he looked out the window, they saw Dave sat in the passenger side of his own car. After sitting there for a minute, conscious he was being watched, Dave realised the errors of his ways. But instead of getting out and walking round the car, he tried to discreetly slide across it. At which point Evo intervened for the final time and booked him a taxi home.
As much as we enjoyed laughing at stories of Dave, he is an absolute belting man, although I'd never say it to his face. We'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't like Dave after meeting him, and there's a testament to his character and friendship. There were so many people there on his stag do. Well, there's a few people who went home early. Jacko, Dave Ash, Sparrow, Slayton. Cathy, as much as Dave is punching way above what these days, compared to his prisoner of war status in uni, is a considerable weight, you have a man who will stand by you through thick and thin. He's a very good friend to have and a good lad to be around. You're a fantastic couple, and you're well suited to each other. And I'm sure I speak for everyone here in saying how happy we are for you and wish you all the very best in the future. Can I also take this opportunity to say that yourself, Cathy, and the bridesmaids look amazing today.
Yes.
I'm told at events like this, Cathy, we should give you some advice. So I thought we'd go over a bit for you. David is a bit of a sleepwalker. After a couple of drinks, he likes nothing more than to hit the hay, groom of horses, jump in fences. Oh no, I've got this wrong. As one Dave O'Connor at the back can attest to. Dave got up one night in his house at uni and thought he'd go to the toilet. A fairly routine thing, you think? No, it wasn't. As he got to the top of the stairs, he was met by quite a sight of Dave standing there, looking deep in thought. What do you think he was thinking about, Gaz?
He might have been thinking about how he could slide down the banister. He might have been thinking about the 210 at Newmarket. Or he's probably thinking about how Liverpool Everton ever going to beat Liverpool again.
Or maybe, just maybe, Gareth, he was wondering why he's walking around someone else's house, stark, bollock, naked. Fortunately, Mr. O'Connor didn't attack the naked intruder and chose to wrap a towel around him and put him away to bed. I'd like to say this was the only time this happened, but that wouldn't be true, would it, Jacko?
No, Jono. But I still don't feel like I'm ready to relive that memory, especially with a big crowd, so we'll let you clap up this time, Dave. As I said earlier, the four of us met at university and we spent most of those days drinking together, so naturally a lot of our stories stem from those carefree and reckless times. Then there are other times when we also like to test our resilience and physical prowess against one another. Like the time we had a competition to see who could sit in a tree the longest. Dave found the comfy spot, managed to stay there all night, and in fact he only got down because he wanted breakfast, despite everyone else having gone to bed hours ago. I'm glad to say that Dave got a lot of his silliness out of his system as a youngster, and the man sat before us now is a much improved version. He's also a great chef, Cathy. He's also a great chef, Cathy. You can look forward to a lifetime of fine dining with Dave in your kitchen. I'd personally recommend his speciality, pâté beurre, which for those not fluent in French cuisine, roughly translates as pasta and margarine.
The great thing about writing Dave's best man speech was the sheer volume of material we had at our disposal. So many stories came up when we were discussing what we should write. But the bad thing about writing Dave's best man speech is that there are so many stories and subjects that were off limits. Dave Bryan the Enigma. Dave Bryan the Enigma is best seen by his head for numbers. For example, Dave can tell you the runners and riders of most horses, he can tell you their weights, their odds, and where the value is in the market. Yet, if you ever met Dave in uni and asked him what year he was in, you didn't have a clue. It's an absolute minefield out there, and it's difficult to judge the grey areas. Stories that are largely harmless, but may shatter Dave's polite, well-mannered, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth image. So we've come up with a strategy to get around this. Whilst over the dinner table, if conversation dwindles, and perhaps a good way to break the ice with people you don't know, maybe regale some of your favourite stories of Dave Bryan. If you know the dares that he took part in, the games of I Have Never, the disagreements with authority, the general and sometimes literal trials of the trials and tribulations of Dave Bryan. The grey areas and even some of the no-go areas, such as what was in Dave's closet, may then come out. Sharing is caring.
We may have made him out to have some flaws, Cathy, but if you can avoid him on the football field, not prescribe him any bad drugs, and stay asleep for his naked walks. Dave's come a long way from the lads who we knew in our early 20s. He's a lovely, determined individual. He's a homeowner. He's an uncle, adored by his two nephews, Joe and Jacob, who did brilliantly today. And he even has a real, proper, grown-up job with the HMRC. Yeah, that's right. David is the one taking the money out of your wage packet every day. But don't worry, Dave has personally reassured me before that anyone who has any issues with their tax, he's happy to advise them, free of charge. So if anyone who doesn't have Dave's number, find us at the bar later and we're happy to pass it on.
So all that's left to be said is that the three of you wish you a long and happy marriage. You're both very lucky to have each other, and if everyone would join us, we'd like to raise a toast, please. To the bride and groom.
To the bride
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the speeches.
Yeah.